Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mama Christine's podcast. I am so excited. I've been doing little videos every single day for, oh my God, I don't know, 2-3 years now. And, once a month I was doing my video series and I'm like, it needed to be something different. And it just hit me one day. I'm like, I think I need to do a podcast. It's different in the sense that there's gonna be a lot more to it than just a video. So I'm just so excited. Today is April 10th, 2025, and this is my first podcast. First episode anyway. I've done plenty of videos in the past, but I wanted to make this podcast something that gets you to understand who I am, because I'm hoping there's a lot of new people out there watching. And if not, I know at some point there will be. I trust and believe that it is going to be a great thing for all of us. I'm just very excited to be doing this. I think it's one of those things when you follow your intuition and you follow your gut and whatever you want to call it, it just feels so good when you do it. It's like you plan and you plan and you plan, and it's like, here it is. Let's get this done. So I am very excited. So let's start by taking a breath, right? Like, oh my goodness. There we go. There we go. Okay. The excitement of it all. So anyway, anybody who knows me and has been here to Sisters of Solace to take one of my classes, or has been to what I used to do, a spiritual counseling group. It was a lot of different things, and I always go with the change. When I get nudged to change, we make a change. So, but I always did this one thing, and especially now still in my classes, I always pull a card, an angel card, an oracle card. Why? Because it's a nice message to have when you're starting off your meeting, your podcast, your class. It kind of puts everybody in that like, oh, okay, this is where the energy is going. So because this is new, don't mind me, I'm going to go with my life purpose cards. Why? Because my life purpose has been going for 20 years, and lots of changes. Lots of people have come and lots of people have gone. Lots of practitioners have come in and they've all left. We have new ones now, but life is always changing. It's never ending change, and it should be. It should never stay the same. It should never stay stagnant, right? Life is meant to go up and go down. It's gonna be good, it's gonna be bad. It may level off, and then it goes back up, and then it goes back down. And that's how life goes. From beginning to end, that's how it goes. If you spend too much time right here, something's not right. Something's not right. So think about that. So life purpose, right? My life purpose, your life purpose. Let's go. Let's pick a card. Here we go. Practice. Perfect card. Practice. Okay. So it says, polish your skills by practicing regularly. So I love that card because one, when it says practice daily as you polish your skills, a lot of times people are like, oh, I want to do this. And they're all excited and they're all gung-ho. And then they kind of just wean off real quick. It's like, oh, aren't you doing this anymore? It's like, oh, no. Well, why not? I don't know. Healing is a big part of what I do. It is 100% of what I do. Even as I'm teaching people how to heal themselves as well as other people. So everything I do is about healing. And I tell people, I says, you cannot expect to heal if you don't do the work. Okay? Think about that. Now, if you have a physical ailment, or even mental these days, because a lot of people are going through anxiety and stress and a lot of different things, mental illness, you go see a doctor. And again, I have nothing against the medical community, but if you can do something to help yourself in a more natural way without taking a bunch of meds that give you so many side effects that you're taking more meds to counteract those meds, find the easier way. Okay? It may be longer, it may be work to do it, but it's better for you. People will come in and see me for Reiki. And oh my God, when they're done, they're like, oh my God, thank you. I feel so much lighter. I feel happier. I feel healthier. oh, I feel like I can move on with myself, my day, my life, whatever. And off they go. But they don't change a damn thing once they leave here. They still live with the same people. They still work at the same job. They still deal with the same bullshit from family and friends and whatever else. If you do not change what's outside of yourself, you can't change what's inside of yourself. And I can't change that for you. I can help you, but I cannot change it for you. So that's what I mean by life is a practice. So your purpose, everybody, is to practice living life. Yes, it goes up. Yes, it goes down. But guess what? You're going to do it. You're going to make it. You're going to be fine. And that leads me to where we are today, my podcast. So this podcast is going to be about healing. It's going to be about self-care, self-worth, positivity, determination, motivation, anything that can get you up and above the line to live a better life. I'm hoping I can help you with that. But again, anything and everything that I offer you is up to you to take and run with it. And mind you, I'm going to say things that you may go, yeah, I don't think so. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. I always say, take what you want and leave the rest behind. There's stuff out there that I look at and I go, really? No, I don't think so. And that's okay. That is okay. There is no right. There is no wrong. It just is what feels right to you. So that's what I want to emphasize with my podcast. My intention, my purpose is to help you guys out with whatever it is I can. And as we move on, that's going to shift and change a little bit, and we'll get to that. But that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to take something, even if it's one thing I say out throughout the whole podcast, or maybe, if somebody asks a question and I answer it and you say, oh my God, that sounds like me, then take it. Just because I don't say it directly to you doesn't mean it isn't for you. So that's something to think about as well. So I really want to back up 20 years, okay? And the reason being is there's a lot of you out there who don't even know how I got into doing all this. I am a hometown girl of Westport, Massachusetts. Been here my whole life. I did leave twice for about a year each time, only because I had gotten married and ended up right back in Westport. Westport's my life. It's my heart. It's my soul. It's where I love to be. So here I am. But anyway, so growing up, typical family, right? Mom, dad, me and my sister. I have some half siblings as well. And, went to school, didn't like college back then. I was like, nope, not doing it. Can't stand school, whatever. So anyway, I had got married very young. I was married for 10 years, got divorced, learned a lot of lessons from that one. And that's what life is all about, is learning lessons. If you don't take the lesson repeats itself. It really does. So with that lesson, I learned to not lose myself, because that's what I did. I gave all of myself to that person. And the more that person was taking from me, the more I was making excuses for that person, because I didn't want people to realize how things were, So without going into tons of details, my lesson from that marriage was to keep my independence, because you can have your independence and still be in a relationship, and realizing that, when it comes to priorities, you and your partner, whoever that may be, are priorities number one to each other. Then it's your living situation, and of course children, if you have children, and family and friends and so on and so forth and so on, whatever your line of stuff is, okay? So yeah, I learned a hard lesson on that one. I mean, I was very mature for my age. I was in it to win it. I was in it for the long haul, the whole 9 yards, and somebody up there was like, nope, not gonna happen. You're here to learn a lesson, you're gonna learn it, and you're gonna move on. And I did. I met my second husband, and we ended up, I lived with him for about a year in New Bedford, and then we built a house in Westport because we already had our son. And then I found out I was pregnant with twins. So therefore, back to Westport we go. And had a great time until we didn't. So I have my 3 children. I have a stepdaughter. I have a son-in-law. I have 3 grandchildren. And then, needless to say, after 15 years, we got divorced. This time I married a narcissist. But it is what it is. You know, I learned a lot from that as well. But I also knew when that turned at a specific point in our time together, I knew and remembered my feelings from the first time. And I was like, you know what? Nobody says I have to stay in a place where I am not happy. Nobody says I have to stay in a place where I feel, or I'm trying to be made to feel I'm not worthy, that I'm not doing things right, that anything else that comes with that type of relationship. So I knew in my heart of hearts I had to let that go. And I did. So I've been kind of by myself for 11 years, and I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. If I find somebody, fantastic. As long as it's, you know, the person that I truly want in my life. I'm not going to just settle for anybody just because I want to date, you know. I truly want somebody who is like-minded and, you know, who would be there for me and I could be there for them, and so on and so forth. But that's a whole manifesting thing. We can always talk about it another time. So meanwhile, when my kids were small, my sister had a house party, and you know, people always say, how did you guys get started? And I says, well, because my psychic told me to. And honest to God, it's a true story. And so we went to her house. I went to my sister's house. She had a house party with a medium, and the medium did her thing, and we all got messages. And then one of my sister's friends had a house party after that party. So I said, well, we're not going to go to her house now because, you know, we want more messages. And as we were sitting at that house party, mind you, my kids were like 3 and 4, I think, 2 and 3 or something like that. And she looked at me and my sister, and she's like, ooh, you two. It was like, oh my God, what? And she's like, you two, the psychic sisters. I'm like, what are you talking about? She says, you two are going to go into business together. Well, I just busted out laughing. I'm saying, I don't know what we're going to be doing because we have nothing in common. I says, I am a stay-at-home mom right now. And I says, she works for Polaroid, which of course many of you know is no longer in existence. So it was a while ago, obviously. And she's like, no, you're going to work together. You're going to be doing Reiki, and she's going to be doing massage. And I said, what's Reiki? I had never in my life heard of Reiki. Not at all. My sister said that she had thought about doing massage at one point, but, you know, wasn't sure if it was the right thing for her. And I was like, oh my God, I had no clue. So now, sometimes that's all it takes is a little message like that. The next day, I go to the store and I drop my kids off at pre-K, I go to Barnes & Noble's and I buy a book on Reiki. I take that book with me back to the parking lot of the school, and I sit in the car and I read it from cover to cover, and it hits me right here. And I'm like, oh my God, I have got to do this. So that was it. I went home and I called her and I says, who teaches it? When can I learn it? How much is it? You got to help me out here because I have got to do this. And when I read about Reiki, I already knew I was going to go right to the top, right to the master level, because it was just driving me crazy. Like the energy I felt about it, I just had to get there. And she's like, don't worry. She says, I'll give your name and number to a friend of mine who teaches classes, and she'll get in touch with you. And she did. So my sister and I both took Reiki 1. I went on to Reiki 2. She went on to massage school. And here we are, 19 years later. So I learned Reiki in 2005. So I've actually been Reiki attuned for 20 years, working the business for 19. So it's been a great 20 years. It really has. In the beginning, it was scary because, you know, we opened up the business in a building where we were in the back of the building, couldn't be seen from the street. But yet when I found the place and showed my sister, I'm like, look, we gotta go in here. This place is amazing. And I just felt it was right. And we started our business March 1st, 2006 with a phone, an appointment book, and a computer. No clientele, none. And we said, nope. She said we were supposed to do this. I feel it 1,000%. We're doing this. My sister thought I was crazy. And I'm like, nope, we're doing this. And lo and behold, we started. And before you knew it, clients started coming in, little at a time. And more people were coming in. And people were coming in going, hey, I just drove by and saw your sign. What do you do? And by the time 6 years had gone by, we had a clientele. We had somebody else renting one of our rooms from us. We had people coming in doing yoga classes, and we started selling merchandise. All in 6 years. And then the voice started, you need to move. I was like, okay. And it was like, no, you need to move. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, if you want us to move, I said, you better help me find a place. And that's all I said. And I remember starting to look around at different places, and, I found a place and it was being built and something felt off about it. And I brought the paperwork to a lawyer. My sister said, my sister and I, we sat with her, and she's like, you realize this guy wants like 12 grand up front? And I was like, what? She's like, yeah. She said, it's not 1,200 a month. He wants the whole year in advance. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, we don't have that. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So we got out of that. And I'm like, no, not happening. Anyway, so, well, that's when we were looking for a place. But after the 6 years, I apologize, back up 10 yards and punt, right? We found this place, didn't work out. We ended up in the building in the back. After 6 years, that's when I was like looking for a bigger place. And I just had the sense that I wanted to buy something. And we looked around at a beautiful country house in Westport. It had fields, it had a horse corral, it had a barn. And I'm thinking like, wow, we could, do this with the house, make all the services in there. The barn could be the event center. We have plenty of outdoor space to put a labyrinth and do whatever we want to do, blah, blah, blah. But it just didn't sit right. I said, no, the house isn't right. Something's wrong. The ceilings are too short. They're too low. And I said, the roof doesn't look right. And I said, oh, we can't do anything with the barn. They had big, huge posts, metal posts, right, in the stables. And I'm like, oh my God, no way, not gonna happen. And it was a million other things. I'm like, no, this just isn't right. But why am I here? Why am I looking at this place if it's not even the right place? And I saw the woman moving her papers around, they're talking and the papers are in their hand or whatever. And I says, wait a minute. I says, what is that? And she goes, oh, it's this. She said, it's on 177. And I went, oh my God, I saw that online. I said, can we go look at that? My intentions then were, I wanted a space that was 3 times the size of what we had. It had to have 3 treatment rooms. I wanted 2 classrooms instead of 1. I wanted to be facing the street with a big parking lot. I didn't want to pay any more rent than what we were paying down the street at our old place. And I wanted it to be easy. And lo and behold, she got us an appointment with the owner, and we came in, and as we drove in, we were separate cars. A big hawk flew right between our 2 cars, like swooped right down. And I was like, okay, did y'all see that? Right? Park the car, and I get out, and there's a balcony in the front of the building. And there was an angel flag hanging off the balcony. And I'm like, okay, sign number 2, because of course, you know me, I'm an angel card reader. I work with the angels all the time. We came in, no word of a lie, you walked in, you took a right turn, 3 office spaces, 3 treatment rooms. Big open space to one end of the building and another room on the opposite end of the building that's big enough for a small classroom. I'm like, oh my God, 2 apartments upstairs, rent's coming in. So I could charge myself whatever I wanted for rent, which was the same amount of money we were paying down the street. And 19 years later, I'm still paying the same thing for rent. So, needless to say, as we went outside to talk to the realtor about the building, because I loved it, big yard, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I can put we did end up putting a labyrinth in, but needs a little work right now. But as we were standing outside in the middle of December, okay, it was a mild December, but it was still December, a big blue dragonfly like this flew right in between me and my sister. And I was like, oh my God, did you see that? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I love challenging my angels all the time. I like validation for things that I know are probably signs for me. So I'm like, okay, if that dragonfly was our 3rd sign, because we already saw the hawk, we saw the angel flag, I said, make that dragonfly fly by 2 more times. So it flies by a total of 3 times. Because for me, I want everything in 3s. And honest to God, within seconds, that thing flew by and flew by again. And I went, that's it, I want it. Where's the paperwork? And lo and behold, I ended up buying the building myself and been here for 13 years. So, it's amazing when you learn to listen to your intuition, where it can take you. Putting down the fear and doing it anyway. My dad thought I was crazy, but my dad was always a huge supporter of mine. My ex at the time, because we were still married, thought I was nuts. And I'm like, you know what? You don't have to worry about this building. I'm going to take care of it. And I did. So I'm still here. So that's kind of where we got started. That's where it all happened, and it was just amazing and mind-blowing. And oh my God, I mean, the people that I have met over the years, some great mentors, teachers, clients, people that have become friends. Oh my God, it's amazing, the things and the people that we have met and loved and let go, whatever it may be. But, because nothing's perfect, it really isn't, especially in business. So that's how the business got started. So what did I do from there? I mean, besides learning Reiki, I ended up, like I said, going on to Reiki 2 and eventually Reiki Master, started teaching classes right away. So I have been teaching since 2007. So yeah, I've taught quite a few, probably a few hundred Reiki 1 practitioners, quite a few Reiki 2s. I would say less than 100 Reiki 3s, because not everybody wants to go to master level. You don't have to, do if you want to. But I've learned so much in between. I have taken an angel certification course, intuition courses, not that I really needed them, but I felt better about it because it's just where I was at the time. But I do angel card readings. I have done spiritual circles, which is kind of like group, people, like-minded people come in, we sit in group and, we talk about different things. What's going on with you? Is there anything that you feel the group could bring to you to help you out with whatever you're doing? And we did that for quite a few years. Oh my gosh, I want to say at least 8 or 9 years, I guess. And then I started changing it because, again, things change in your life all the time. Not everything stays the same. And I found that after a while, this spiritual circle thing was dying off. And I know in my life, when things start dying off, it's the universe going, let it go. You're not letting it go. So we're going to take it away, because you're supposed to be doing this. And it's like, okay. So it's, listening to your gut, listening to your intuition and going with it, again, with the fear, yeah, it makes me nervous when I try new things and do new things. But you know what? This is something I never would have done 4 or 5 years ago. I think COVID, as much as everybody hated COVID and it did a lot of damage, I want to say that was probably one of the things I needed to get me where I am, because the day we got shut down, I went home with my singing bowls and I did a singing bowl meditation via video and sent it out to anybody who needed it, because that's where everybody was. And from there, I just started making videos just every day, just a little positive thought, motivation, determination, whatever it might be, So yeah, I learned the angel stuff and I did cards, and I took other classes in the meantime. I did a cranial sacral introduction class. It was interesting. I enjoyed getting it. I was like, I don't know if I really want to do it. And that's something else too. Never do something you don't want to do. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it just because you think it's the right thing. Do it because you truly feel it in your heart, like I did with Reiki. Oh my God, 20 years has gone by, I'm still doing Reiki. Other things I have learned I don't do anymore. But I took a Theta class. I became certified in Theta. I took an IET class, which is integrated energy therapy. And to me, they're all, I don't want to say the same, but they all work with the energy just in different ways. But it was interesting to learn because I can actually incorporate a lot of what I've learned from other things and bring those actually into my Reiki sessions. So I can be doing a Reiki session and I could do pressure points with the IET. I can go into Theta and see what's really going on with somebody, see if it's a past life issue or see if it's something that's going on now, and help them to release it and let it go, as well as giving them energy from Reiki. So, it's like jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. That's kind of what I feel like in my spiritual life. So yeah, I mean, those are just different things I've done. I want to, give props to one of my mentors. Years ago when we first started, this woman came in and got a massage, and she started talking to us, and she's like, hey, have you ever thought about holding classes? And I'm like, well, like what? What do you mean? She goes, well, she says, this is what I do. And I hold classes, and she's a business, life and business coach. And love her to death. I really do. She's very direct. She makes you accountable for your bullshit, basically, which I love. So there's no beating around the bush with her. It either is or it isn't kind of thing. You're either on or you're off. There's no in between. And but I love her for that, because it really gets somebody pushed and motivated, so you either stick with it or you walk away. And I just stuck with her, and she came into Sisters, and she started to do law of attraction classes, and she'd teach people how to do the law of attraction, how to stay above the line, how to stay motivated, how to stay positive, so that what you're trying to attract comes to you, and then she started with other things, and she was learning a lot on her own as well. And she's like, I've just come back from this amazing trip, and I want to do a class here, and I'm hoping you guys will join me. And I'm like, okay, what is it? She goes, it's classes to help you break through your fears. I'm like, okay. We're going to do glass walking and arrow breaking. And I was like, I'm in. Like, I want to do this. I was like so intrigued. And I can honestly say that I have taken an arrow, rounded points, mind you. They're not sharp points, they're rounded points, but they actually go right into the hollow here, and the other end goes on the wall. So what happens is, to break through your fear, you step into it and snap the arrow with your neck, or your throat, I should say. And I did. It was hard at first, it was. But that was my fear holding me back, and I could feel it. Like the fear is like, I could hear this little voice going, no, forget the fear, just do it, get it done. And finally I just stepped into it, and the thing just snapped right in half. It was amazing. I felt like, wow, right? I was like, I just did that. Then I did the glass walking thing. I mean, she had an 8-foot walk of broken glass. And of course, mind you, she teaches you all about mindfulness, how to be in the moment, the whole 9 yards. So your mind is here, not all over the place while you're trying to walk on glass. And I did that, and I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. Then she continued to go. She traveled to California. She was gone for a bit, learning some more stuff. And what does she do? Lo and behold, she brings back the fire walk. Well, we had, starting in 2012, right after we moved here, started doing fire walks twice a year, 3 times a year. We had one for us because she asked me to become one of her fire tenders, which I did. And so we would have our own walk like in June, and then we do a public walk in July and another one in September. And we did that every year until COVID. And oh my God, it was amazing. So I got to do fire walking like at least 3 times a year for, my God, 8 years, 7 and a half, whatever it is. Anyway, but oh my God. And the reason being is like, because people say, well, what the hell do you want to do that for? I'm like, you know what? It's not for the fact it's the fire, or, it's just something to try, but it proves to me, and to everybody who's done it, and we've had handicapped people do it. We've had people who move extremely slow do it, walk over fire, and they manage, they do it. And I said, the reason being is because it proves to me that if I can do that, I can do anything. I'm one of those people, I was afraid to make phone calls. Like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. Why do I have to do it? And now it's like, I don't care. I just do what I got to do. It has pushed me and opened me up to so many things over these past, oh my God, the whole thing, since I've known her, okay? So even if we say, it was 2007 or 8 or whatever it was, over 20, well, back up, over 15 years of knowing her, I have shifted, I have changed, I have grown, I have done so much, and it's because of Carrie Cudmore. So if Carrie, if you're watching, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, I walked on the glass, walked on the fire, broke an arrow with my throat, broke boards, you know, broke boards that were on fire. That was cool. And then my ultimate, because one of the things that Carrie learned when she was out in California was how to bend an 8-foot rebar with your throat. Just like the arrows, but the difference is you do it with someone else. So she knew I had always wanted to do that. And I believe it was the September fire walk, which happened to land on my birthday. And she goes, I got you something. You ready? And I'm like, okay. And she pulled out the 8-foot rebar and I'm like, no way. And I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So sure enough, we set ourselves up. We got our minds where we needed to be. And you put a little rubber tip so the metal doesn't scratch you, but same thing. You put it there. We look at each other and she's like, you count on the count of 3. She says, on 3, we go. I'm like, okay. And I counted 1, 2, 3, and we walked towards each other. And I'm telling you that rebar, steel rebar, bent like butter. Like it wasn't even steel. It was amazing. Amazing. I still have it till this day. It's in my garage, and I swear one day I'm going to put it outside with my flower bed and have flowers growing off of it because, yeah, I still have it. So, you know, those are the things that got me where I am today. Now, are you going to do something like that? Maybe not. You should. It's pretty cool, actually. It proves to you how fearless you can be when you want to be. But yeah, but that's my story, you know. But again, you know, I think if I hadn't done all those things, I don't know exactly where I would be today, how far along I would be. Amongst all that, what else have I done? Let's see, I've written a book. Okay, I've actually written 2. But my first book came when someone told me that, because our mom passed 3 months after we opened, and my mom was very psychic as well. And she kept saying, where's the book? Where's the book? Where's the book? So my friend's like, your mom wants to know what the book is. So I had no idea what she talked about. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, my mom had, oh my God, my mom was an avid reader. So there must have been 500 books in the basement that my dad hadn't gotten rid of yet. And she says, no, your book. I said, I don't have a book. You're going to write a book. So I'm like, okay. The person who hated school, I'm like, okay. I passed because I had to. I'm like, all right, fine. And she's like, yeah, you're going to call it like the Spiritual Journal of Holistic Healing. And I'm like, okay. And I kind of got excited about it. And I had told my husband at the time, I says, yeah, I think I'm going to write a book. And he goes, you're going to write a book? All right, whatever. That's about as much as I got. So I'm like, that's okay. It is what it is. But I was still a little excited about it. And I'm like, maybe I should, you know? I'm like, I can figure this out. Well, needless to say, the energy fell off and I just like, oh, maybe it's not for now. Mind you, my kids were still small. So it's tough to run a household and take care of 3 kids, you know, and write a book. At least for me it was at the time. Because of course I hadn't learned all this stuff yet either. But yeah, at one point, about 1.5 years later, I knew it was time. We had already opened up Sisters, and you know, well, we were already at Sisters, but it was kind of like, I don't know, all of a sudden, like customers and clients were like, oh my God, you're so helpful. Thank you so much. You know what? You should write a book. And I was like, what? I'm like, okay. Then, you know, computers, you know, there's always ads on the pages you go on and stuff. Become an author, write a book, write, you know, tell your story, publish, self-publish. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm thinking like, how am I going to do this? Truly, how am I going to do this? I mean, my kids are still small. My brother-in-law was living with us at the time, I believe he was still living with us. Or he had just left, but still, I mean, I was still married. I still had the 3 kids, the house, trying to run the business. And I'm like, when the hell am I going to write a book? Because, you know, with little kids, you're up at the crack of dawn doing stuff already. So all of a sudden, I had a cat at the time, and I loved her. I had her forever. She was 18 when she passed. But she started meowing at like 4 in the morning. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I would try to ignore her. And the more I ignored her, the more she'd meow. So like I get up and, I don't know, here's some food, you know. Maybe she's hungry. So I gave her some food, go back to bed, and she'd come back, meow, meow, meow. Finally, I would like shut the door and just hope she'd go away so I could sleep. But this became a daily routine, and I'm like, what is going on? And again, that book was always over here in the back of my mind. And one day she was meowing, and it was like I fed her and went back upstairs, and she immediately followed me and kept meowing. I'm like, wait a minute. You're trying to get me up so I can start writing. And I was like, really? All right, fine, let's do this. 4 a.m., made some coffee, got a notebook and a pencil, and I said, all right, let's do it. And then before I know it, everything started flooding in. So my book is called A Spiritual Journal of Holistic Healing from A to Z. So the intention being every letter of the alphabet has something to talk about or something written about it. Well, I'm like, if you want me to do this, this is what I'm telling the universe, right? If you want me to do this, then you gotta, you gotta tell me what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it was like A, angels, affirmations, B, belief systems, balance, boundaries, C, chakras, crystals, D, divine, E is ear kindling, F is faith. And I'm like, oh my God. And I just started writing everything down. And before I knew it, I had 43 items I was going to write about. I'm like, okay. All right, let's start with A, angels. What do you want me to say? Angels are, and then all of a sudden words just started flowing into my mind, and I just started writing it all down. And in 3 months, I had the whole thing written down. A few months later, I took the summer off and started typing, got it all done. Now, mind you, I am a layman's person. I like things easy. I don't like things complicated. When I explain things, I explain it in the simplest form possible because, like Eckhart Tolle, I love him. He's got a great book, The Power of Now. But I was so lost reading that. I got the whole gist of it, but wow. Very in depth with his language and whatnot. And I'm like, I'm not that kind of person. I'm like a meat and potatoes kind of girl. And it's like, everything's easy peasy. This is what this is, that's what that is. And I don't want it complicated. I want people to understand it. So when I write, guaranteed everything I write, and I think this is just to show people, because I don't do it purposeful. I really don't. Everything I write has a mistake in it. And I can look it over and it'll be a mistake. And you know what I heard? It's because nobody's perfect. And I went, wow. That's true. Nobody is perfect. But I'll tell you, the judgment you get, people would pick up the brochure of one simple mistake. You have a professional brochure. It should have the correct spelling. Do you not know what you're doing? You should get an editor. I'm like, wow. But everything I have written has a mistake in it. And again, it's not on purpose. It just happens that way. So when I wrote my first book, guaranteed, I was still married, and he was not big on spending a lot of money. So it cost me money as it was, just to copyright it and to have some printed up and so on. But to pay extra for the editing and all those different, oh my God, that's a whole nother story, spending money. So we won't go into that because that's not the purpose of this. But this is my book, A Spiritual Journal of Holistic Healings from A to Z. And I wrote it in 2011, finished it in 2012. And if you're interested, like I said, you can get it here at Sisters, or you can order it on our website at sistersofsolace.net. But again, it's got everything you can think of. Oh my God. It talks about crystals, emotions, how your emotions affects your physical body. It talks about massage. It talks about Reiki. It talks about theta. It talks about hypnosis. It talks about yoga. Oh my gosh, like you name it, every letter of the alphabet, there's something there. I also wrote this one, Manifesting Your Dreams with the Divine workbook. So you want to learn how to manifest? By the way, sunflower is my favorite. You guys probably know that by now. A lot of you watch me, so you know. But it's a whole workbook on manifesting. How to manifest, what to say, how to say it, being positive, holding those intentions, making things happen. That one you can get from thebookpatch.com. It's called Manifesting Your Dreams with the Divine workbook. I have a couple copies here, but that's it. But if you wanted it, it's thebookpatch.com. Just type in the title of the book and you'll find it. But the Spiritual Journal of Holistic Healing, like I said, I have tons of them here. If anybody wants them, just let me know. You can order it through the website and I'll ship it out to you. If not, you can go on balboapress.com, which is an affiliate of Hay House. And it's a spiritual journal of holistic healing from A to Z. So that's a lot about me and where I am and who I am and what I'm going to bring to you guys every week. So that is the intention. Every Thursday by 7 p.m., my podcast will be on, and it's going to be about a ton of different things. Okay. A lot of you follow me and watch my videos every day. It's pull a card, get a message. Well, this is going to be a message on steroids, basically. So we're going to talk about manifesting. We're going to talk about intuition. We're going to talk about determination, motivation, worthiness, dealing with narcissistic people, dealing with negative people, dealing with positive people, how to get through life situations, whatever it may be. And I have decided that starting in May, and I will send an email out, I'll mention it in my podcast, that I'm going to ask you guys to send me questions on what to do with whatever, okay? It's one question, please. And when I do my podcast, it'll be, I believe, I decided on the third Thursday of the month. And what I'll do is I'll pick a few random questions, answer them right on the podcast, and pull one card for you. And I'm also going to start inviting guests in too. It's going to be fun. But I want to invite guests in that would be beneficial to you guys. Not just somebody who wants to come and chit chat, but somebody like Carrie, a mentor. Somebody who has been around and done so much and taught so much. People that are spiritual, people that are intuitive, people that are coaches, people that are beneficial to you guys, okay? And I'll let you know when that comes up because I haven't finalized all the information for that just yet. But those are the things I'll be bringing to you on this podcast. So this one I wanted to be the home opener, as they say in baseball. And I wanted you guys to know who I was, where I came from, and how I became who I am today. And a little bit about what I do and what I've created and so on and so forth. So as our card said in the very beginning, remember, life is about practice. In order to get ahead in life, you need to practice. So practice being a good person, practice being kind, practice, oh my God, everything. Practice saying no, practice boundaries, practice worthiness, practice self-care, practice meditation, practice journaling. And I know it sounds like a lot, but you know what? If you do one at a time for say 2 weeks each thing, before you know it, it becomes part of you, who you are. It becomes part of your routine. I didn't do any of this stuff when I first started. I didn't meditate. I didn't journal. I wasn't positive. I mean, I was, but I was like a lot of other people, judgmental, talking about different situations and people and judgy, and that's who I was. And it's like, wow, I can't jive with that energy anymore. Do things happen in life? And I go, yeah, that doesn't feel right. Yeah, it's in conversation, but not to come up and be judgmental and create drama and create trauma. And no. I can have conversations with people with his opinions, but not judgment. So there's a big difference. But yeah, so that's where I've been and that's what I've done, and I'm just going to continue doing this, I swear to God, until the day I die. I'm 57 now, and I've been doing this for 19 years as a business, and I assume I'll be here for quite a lot longer. So I'm not going anywhere. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Like I said, it's not a lot to, about all these different things I want to talk about, but maybe just hearing my story may make you realize, like, wow, things can change, they really can. And that's what I mean by my podcast being living life through experience. Because you know what? You have to live life. You have to get these experiences. You have to have the good, the bad, the ugly, right? You have to have the downtime, the uptime, the pause time. All of that is practice to living life and experiencing every bit of it, right? Right. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this off with one more card just for fun. I don't know if I'll do it twice every week, but I feel like today I need to. I really want to. There we go. It just flew right out of the deck. Boom. Options. Options. So it says, consider the career possibilities that are open to you. Now, of course, we're not talking about careers per se in the moment. We're talking about life and experiences. So consider all the options in your life. Your job. Do you have to stay? No, you can find something else, right? Do you have to stay in the position you're in? No, you can apply for the position that just opened up above you, right? Friends, do you need to keep that person? No, they're negative. They don't listen, they don't help, they don't do anything. Then it doesn't fit anymore. Let it go, right? There's always options. There's always choices. So whatever you're going through, remember that. I have options and I have choices. Choose positive, choose happy, choose kind, choose love. All right, guys, thanks so much. It's been an amazing first episode, and I can't wait to talk to all of you next week. Take care. Bye.